Good day and welcome to session 2 of our process. We're talking about God's glory. We see in so many moments in the Old Testament where God reaches out to man, and each time He does, He reveals something of His character to them. You and I wouldn't follow or trust someone whose character we don't know, would we? But when we begin to understand something of God's greatness and character, it's so much easier to trust Him with our lives and with our stories. There are so many stories from Moses' life where God reveals Himself to Moses, and every time Moses discovers something about God's character, his faith grows, and his actions align more closely with God's heart. Let's look at a few of these stories. The most well-known story is probably the one about the burning bush. It takes place in Exodus 3 verse 5, where Moses is tending to the sheep and God appears to him in a burning bush. He says, "Do not come any closer," God said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Here God calls Moses to lead the people out of Egypt and back into the promised land. Moses is unsure whether the people will listen to him, and God encourages him by revealing to Moses who is with him. Exodus 3 verse 14 says, God said to Moses, "I am who I am." This is what you are to say to the Israelites. "I am is the one who sent me." God reveals Himself as I am. I am more than any definition. I am greater than any description. Over time, we see in Moses' story how God gives meaning to what He meant by His character of I am. One of the most interesting stories we find in Exodus 6 that describes how God's command to Moses to lead the people out of Egypt was anything but easy. The Pharaoh made life increasingly difficult for the Israelites, and Moses became negative. In this difficult season, God reveals Himself once again to Moses and reminds him to see who is with him. There were several such moments where God strengthened Moses' faith and solidified his calling by showing him who He is. Exodus 6 verse 2 to 3. And God said to Moses, "I am Yahweh, the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as El Shaddai, God Almighty, but I did not reveal my name Yahweh to them. I am Yahweh." This was the new revelation to Moses about who God is. Moses, you knew me through the stories of Abraham and Jacob as the Almighty One, the one who is powerful and mighty, but I want you to learn another side of me that they did not know, and that is that I am Yahweh. I am not far away, I am with you. I will be with you in every step of the way. God says to Moses, "Let me tell you more about who I am as Yahweh." Exodus 6 verse 6 to 8 says, "Therefore say to the people of Israel, I am the Lord. I will free you from your oppression, and I will rescue you from your slavery in Egypt. I will redeem you with a powerful arm and with great acts of judgment. I will claim you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, who has freed you from your oppression in Egypt. I will bring you into the land I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will give it to you as your very own possession. I am the Lord. I am the Lord, and I will redeem you. I will rescue you with my strength and mighty acts. I will make you my people. I will be your God, and I am the Lord your God." Do you hear the relational elements in this passage? I am Yahweh. I am not distant. I am near to you. Moses desired to learn more about God, and this brings him to a place where he asks God, "Show me more elements of who you are." We find this moment in Exodus 33. Then Moses said, "Now show me your glory." The Lord replied, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will call out my name Yahweh before you, for I will show mercy to anyone I choose, and I will show compassion to anyone I choose." God is revealing that He is the Lord, the one who is full of mercy and full of compassion. Moses will experience and know God's name, the Lord, as the one who shows grace and compassion in our relationship with Him. He also reveals Himself to us as God who shows us His character, His potential, and His love for us. Each of our stories are different, and the roads we take to make this happen may vary. But God constantly reveals himself to each of us in how involved he is in the detail of our lives. Recently, God showed me that I can trust him with every aspect of my life and that his plans for me are only good. In the New Testament, we find the greatest revelation of all time about who God is in the form of his Son, Jesus. Let me take you to Hebrews 1 verse 3. The Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being. Jesus himself came to explain God and himself practically, expressing further what God meant by I am. He says, I am the bread in John 6:35. Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. I am the light. In John 8 verse 12, when Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness again, but will have the light of life. He also says, I am the good shepherd. In John 10 verse 11, he says, I'm the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. He says, I am the way. John 14 verse 6. Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. In our daily lives, Jesus wants us to discover more and more about who he is for ourselves. Will you see him as the source of life, the environment that you live in, the way, the truth, and the life? Will you see him as the bread of life? Through the storms of your life, he's still the provider. When you need answers, will you see him as the light, shining light upon the questions that you have? Will you see him as the good shepherd who wants to lead you into places of all abundance? God bless.